What's going on? This is Candace Ivory of Lioness Wealth Therapy coming at you with day 7 of my 15-day challenge. It's amazing how much information we can bring across in 7 days. You know, it's been a journey. If you've gone through this journey with me, I really appreciate you for taking the time out to support my vision. And I hope that this vision and this movement has moved on into your home and into your thoughts as far as for your children. But if you have not, you are in YouTube right now. Please just click the subscribe link and also take a look at my videos from previous to catch up to the point to where we are today. So we've talked about how important education is to us. We have continuing education, which is always needed. Not so much of the generic education that everybody's used to, because we already know that, you know, our degrees have lost their value. Everybody has a degree of some sort, and there are a lot of people that have the same degree as you. So we are more so on the access-based education, where we are skill set specific. We are subject specific. So I'm more into now knowing about business and finance. I'm more into learning about how to market and brand my business so that I can help my community and also generations to come. I feel that there are simply 2 kinds of equity: time and money. And right now, I'm taking my time to gain knowledge on how to make money so that eventually I can take my money and invest it so that I can have more time. Exactly right. So I won't keep you long. I just wanted to go over our third solution and final solution to our challenges. We had 2 objectives. For those of you all who are just joining me, those 2 objectives are to maintain our current lifestyle while reaching for our future lifestyle. And we know that in modern days and times, Social Security and pensions may not be there for us. Not many of us have worked on our jobs long enough to earn a pension. And as well, we know that the governmental system is a little rocky, and it could eventually end one day. So we don't want to totally put our eggs in one basket and live off of the fixed income that has been set up and in place for us once we retire. We know that there are 4 challenges that keep us from our future lifestyle, in that we would not be able to live as we are currently under just that fixed income. But we do have 4 challenges that keep us from investing in ourselves. One of my hashtags from Facebook, you always see mind over matter, investing in yourself. Those 4 challenges are, we talked about inflation, how it's the silent killer. We don't see it. We very seldom feel it, but eventually we notice it. We clearly know that our paychecks are not increasing at the rate that the dollar is. So we clearly know that we're not, we know that, well, I would say I've learned that the rate of inflation has been kind of hovering between, I would say, 4 and 6%. And I don't know about you, but my paycheck is not increasing at 4 and 6% annually at all. So the only time that inflation did not cause the dollar to increase was like in 2009. And it was really aggressive between 2005 and 2011, with the exception of the year of 2009. So if you haven't really looked at the inflation module, please Google it. It's always good to go back and solidify the information that I give you. But being that inflation is a silent killer and it is munching slowly away at our dollar, we also have have ended up in debt. So what is happening is your monies that you're earning is not sufficient. I'm sorry, it's not sufficient enough to obtain the things that you need or maybe even want. But I use the example of $100 back in 1977, the year that I was born, would probably buy you a basket full of groceries, whereas $100 today would buy maybe a few items. As a matter of fact, $100 back in 77 is the equivalent of roughly $400 today. So that is to give you an example of how inflation works. Now, because we are not getting dollar for dollar anymore, we're tending to use other avenues to add or supplement that income. Credit cards, a major one, virtual money as I call it. Not to mention on top of the credit cards that we get to maybe supplement that income, there's interest on top of the credit cards that we have to pay back. I know a lot of us, I've heard it so many times, I'll just get this credit card and you know what, I'll just use it this one time to pay this or to buy this, and then I pay it right back on my next pay period. Not realizing that on top of the bills that you already have, your mortgage, your car note, your utilities, whatever the case may be, your telephone, your cable, now you have this extra debt that you have to pay back on money that you didn't have. So this is where you start paying the minimum monthly balance. Minimum monthly on $5,000 would be approximately $200 a month. It's always set at a certain percentage of your total balance owed. Usually between 2 and 5% is what you're going to pay every month. So on top of you paying that $200 a month, interest is steady adding up. So it could take you anywhere from literally 14 years to pay off a $5,000 debt. And when you get through with it, you haven't paid $5,000. You pay more than like about $10,000, or a little bit over $10,000, depending on your interest rate as well, which depends on your credit, which we won't go into right now. But some people can pay upwards to 25% in interest on a credit card. And not to mention, we also have auto loans, mortgages. Those things are considered recurring debts. Those things are needed, true enough. We need a home, we need a car, but they are keeping you indebted to some form of bill. So as we are in debt now, we have inflation on top of debt. We also have taxes. So when it comes to your income, your income, we used the W-4 when we first got our job. And most of us as young adults, when we first started learning how to work, we were told just put 0 or 1. And we never knew anything in addition to 0 or 1 on our W-4. Well, when we got married, or we had more than one job, or maybe we had a home-based business. You know, an example of home-based businesses would be if you made baskets for Mother's Day, or if you had a fish fry and you sold plates every Friday, or you maybe sold Avon, or whatever the case may be. It's your business. But you never revisited your W-4. And as a matter of fact, on your W-4, it tells you to revisit your W-4 annually after each time you file your taxes. But I don't think we ever really do that. So because of that, we're overpaying in taxes. Yes, we receive a large refund. That is so true. But you have to think about what your money is doing while it's being held by the government. It's not working for you. You're not getting it. It's being, I'm sure, invested. and you're not getting any profit out of it. So when we think about it that way, we have to find ways to bring our money back to our pockets every pay period. And that also can help to reduce the debts, that can help to increase what we're going to talk about as far as investments as well. So once we have brought, I can say I've revisited my W-4 this year. And when I did, I saw an immediate, and I'm talking about next pay period type of increase of at least $200 from the very beginning. So what could you do with $200 to $400 a month back in your pocket and just break even with taxes instead of having to get this $500,000 and $600,000, $700,000 refund check? Why not just break even? Use your money throughout the year. You're not strapped for cash like you normally are in the repetitive cycle that you built. And then from that point, you can get out of debt and take that money and invest it into yourself. So that's where we are today. We're talking about investments. Once you have depleted your debts, you have all this surplus money, right? Do we go and decorate our houses and buy a new car and get our hair done, buy a new Birkin bag, or buy some new shoes? No, we shouldn't, because our ultimate goal is about retirement. It's not about what you can do right now that you're able to work. It's about you being comfortable when you're not able to work, when you're no longer able to service in the workforce. So we take our monies that we have in surplus after we have taken our time and reduced our debt, and we take that money and invest it. We have several different investment websites. And one thing that I've always learned in my business profession is that self-education is the best education. And the reason is because you're hungry for that knowledge yourself. Nobody's forcing you to get it. You want it because you want it. So I will say this, the information that I'm giving you now, who this is for, it's for those who have their own motivational thoughts. They want to be wealthy. They just have never really known how, or they've never had the avenues to do it themselves. They thought that they would have to pay a financial advisor or go through a broker or a bank in order to invest, and that can be sometimes costly. This is for those who have their own affirmations of how they want their retirement to be, not just saying I'll pay it on the 1st or the 15th when I get my money or when I get my check, but they're looking for living out of passive income, also as residual income. So this is for those who are go-getters, early to rise and late to bed. These are the people that are looking to be business partners. They're looking to move forward in life in a positive way, not stay stuck in where they are on the hamster wheel. This is for go-getters. What this is not for are those who are skeptical, those who are afraid of their money, those who have a weird relationship with their money, and that they only feel that their job is going to take care of them for the rest of their lives. I'm not looking for those who will be Walmart greeters at the age of 70. I'm looking for individuals who are going to listen to me as I learn, and how we can all sit on the beach at Maui at 60 and will have been retired years before that. I plan on retiring from my job at 45 at the latest. And I have 5 years to do that. That's my 5-year goal, to retire eventually. So this is for those who are ready to make a change, not for those who are just looking to see what this is all about to maybe downplay it. You know, I always say I don't have a problem with anyone who chooses to remain where they are. Not at all. This is not for everyone. But what I do also ask is that you just accept and respect that I'm looking to be wealthy. I'm not looking to be rich. I'm looking to be wealthy because I want to make sure that I have time, not just money, but I want my time. And I want to be able to take my time. And while I'm using my time, my money is making its own money. I want to make money while I'm asleep. I want to be able to, while I'm sitting on the beach or while I'm sitting wherever, or while I'm flying across country, I want to look in my bank account and see extra. I don't want to see a deficit. So with that being said, we will continue, and I will state this disclaimer. I am not a financial advisor, nor do I portray to be. I am just a person that is simply educating. I believe that education is free. I believe that if we know something and we know better, we're supposed to do better. If we've learned information, if we've gained knowledge, we are supposed to share it. And that is why I come to you. So I'm not coming to give you the best stock to invest in or the best fund to choose. I am simply showing you how you too can educate yourself. You too can learn everything that I've learned so far and am still learning. This is a never ending process, especially when you're talking about money. Things change on a constant when it's talking about money because money never sleeps. So I bring to you the knowledge and the information that I've learned, and I hope that it should help you in your journey to also that building their wealth or their generational wealth. I think of it for our children. Our children are our future, and they need to know the things that we've never been taught. So if we can start now, that means it's never too late. All right, moving forward. So let's go into investments. Give me 1 second. I want to share my screen. I'm going to stop sharing for one moment. Give me one moment, please. Okay, so we know that we could go to a bank and easily ask them about an IRA or mutual fund or something of that nature. CDs, we all are familiar with those terms and what they mean. But how about investing on our own terms? Let's take a look at one of our websites that I'm familiar with. They have many. You've probably heard of Vanguard, also Fidelity, and maybe, what is it? Charles A. Schwab. Those are some of our investment websites that you can go on and learn a lot about how you can invest. So we are at the Vanguard website right now. If I look here, I have different options of personal investors. I also have retirement plan participants, institutional investors, and financial advisors. Well, we would be considered a personal investor. So I'm going to click on personal investor, and it brings me to the main page for personal investors. Now, there is a ton of information on this website. I'm not going to go through it all, but I will get to the tidbits that's most important to you. So the first thing we need to learn about is how to invest, the basics for saving for retirement. And we always know that savings involves sacrifice. So we know that we have to give a little to get a little. And sometimes we have to give a lot to get a lot. So we need to find the right accounts for you. We can hover over investing on this particular website, and I encourage you all to go through and follow the steps as well. Or go back and revisit this website and do a little bit of research on your own. That's the first step of starting your knowledge process. We have the overview, we have investment products, account types, and rollover transfer products as well. You have options to select investing goals. You can even partner with an advisor directly from this website, and it also gives you investing principles. Now, I'm not going to go through all of these, but I do want to show you what some of the funds actually look like. So I want to go into what we call corporate bond funds. And even just typing in CORP, I come up with several different funds. And I also have the general option to select corporate bond funds, all of the results. But for right now, let's just click on one. Let's just click on any of them. It doesn't matter. What it brings me to is the actual fund profile. And a corporate bond fund is where a bunch of corporations get together and pull their money into one fund account. And that fund account builds interest over a either short period of time, intermediate period of time, a long period of time. So you have short-term type of investments, intermediate investments, and as well long-term investments. So right now we see that this is an intermediate term type of fund. We see that there's an overview of it. It gives you the product summary and the facts and the pricing and performance and the risk and everything. We also have price and performance broken down into detail and specific information. We have portfolio and management, which basically gives us the information about that particular fund, its level of maturity, the fixed income characteristics, distribution information, historical information, and so on. Fees and minimums. How much is it? How much do we have to put into it? We also have distributions. So basically, how is this distributed? And then we have news you can use. And also you can subscribe to that news. This would be like maybe updates or changes to that particular fund. I'm not going to go any further as far as this specific fund, but I do want to show you all like a short list of well-established funds. So we've been talking about how you can get out of debt, how you can reduce your taxes. But I also want to talk to you all about how you can actually invest in double digits, wholesale, not retail, not through your bank, but actually wholesale through this particular website. And you can find different funds or accounts that you can invest that have double digit rates. So let's just take a look starting at the beginning here. We have the total market index funds. We see the names of the funds. We see what the ticker would be. Like if you were watching MSNBC or something, you would be able to find your particular fund and see how it's doing. We see the prices. We see the change, whether it's up or down. And we all know that with investments, there is a risk. It just depends on the type of risk that you choose as far as your outcome is concerned. But the most important part that I'm looking for right now is like the since inception. This is how long that fund has been around and what it averages in a investment yield. So we clearly see this one has been around since 2001, and on average it earns 4.61%. Now as I scroll down, I see there are some funds that have no changes. We see a lot of these that have gone down certain percentages. Some of them have no changes. We see this one has been in existence since 1975 at a 5.17% annual return, average return. And As we scroll down, we see 9.96 since 1970. Pretty much 10% there. 10.20 since 1968. And we clearly see that it's steady. 1968, this has yielded an average annual return of 10.20%. 10.59 since 85. So as you can see, it is definitely true that you can invest and actually earn a 10% or even greater, sometimes even greater annual return on your money. So let's take a look at this one. Since it's been around since 1968, it's been the longest. And we see that it's large growth. We definitely want something that's long-term. This would be something I would use for my long-term type of investment. So let's look at this one. So Morgan Growth, it shows me the price as of the 26th is $25.64 per share. And it also shows me the minimum investment. So this is where we come to that needing to be out of debt type of deal. Because, hey, you can't take your rent money and invest in a high risk. It's just, we don't want to do that. That's like almost going to the casino with your paycheck thinking you're going to walk out of there with $1 million. It's not likely to happen. So because of that, we want to make sure that you are balanced in your taxes, how much you pay versus how much you owe, and also how much you receive back. And as well, you are debt free. You have a surplus. So I say that if you're playing with your surplus money, it's not a devastating thing if you lose it. It's more just, I would consider it an inconvenience. Hey, you know what? I had 10 grand in my account. I invested 3,000. I lost it. Oh, okay. It's not going to cause my lights to get cut off. So that's how I look at when it comes to investments. That's how I look at it. You're playing with a surplus. So if you have no surplus, then we should not be in investing. This is just an overview of what you can do once you have made it successfully to or out of your debt. And as well, we have the composition of the portfolio. But I wanted to show you also, let's see, is it portfolio holdings? One moment. Yep, portfolio holdings. So you clearly see who's holding stock in this fund. So while you all have been, I don't know if you all have been, had that impression, but a lot of people would want to invest in Apple or invest in Amazon.com. Me, I'm more inclined to want to invest in the actual funds that those companies are investing in, because that would, in my mind, I would feel that those funds are safe. So I wouldn't just invest in Apple. I would go in and find out who Apple is investing with and invest in those partners as well. You got Pepsi, Microsoft, Home Depot, Comcast, and the list goes on and on and on. McDonald's. You see how they take your money and invest it in a fund. Why can't you? So another thing that I'm going to tell you is that banks are very smart. They invest in these funds as well. So we always have to remember that banks buy and sell debt. Simple as that. They can buy it from like the feds for like 2%, right? But if you are putting your money into a savings account, let me come back to you all. Okay, if you are investing your money into the bank, right? You have a savings account and they're giving you less than 1% of a return on the money that you have in there. Okay, you do the math. If you had $10,000 in a savings account and you're getting less than 1% of an annual return, how much is that really? But what they're doing is they're taking that money, they're coming over here, they're coming over to Vanguard, and they're investing your money in that 10.20 fund, rate of return fund. So they're making 9% off of your money, and they're only giving you less than 1%. Does that sound clear to you? It's all about optimizing growth. So your bank has taken your money, they've invested it, and only given you a portion. Do you see the similarities? That's what's happening with your taxes. The government, you're overpaying them. They're taking your money. They're going over to Vanguard, Fidelity, Charles Schwab, wherever. They're investing your money and giving you minimal of anything back as far as a profit compared to what they're getting. So while they're getting wealthy, you're still stuck on the hamster wheel. Wow. But we'll talk about banks and their secrets. I have 15 days to tell you all a lot of information, and we're going to revisit banks and their secrets in another segment. But I just kind of wanted to give you all that thought process, because everybody thinks that a bank will take your money and then lend it to somebody else, and the interest that they're getting from somebody else, that's how they make their money. Not at all. That is one way that they make their money. Interest and fees is definitely one way, but remember, they are a bank. They know all about investments. So your CD that you may have that's yielding that 5% interest at the top, they're taking your money and they're doing way more with it. They even have some funds that are like 25%. You know, you may have to put down 25,000, 50,000 to get into the big leagues and with those funds, but your yield is so much greater. So you can actually live out of those. So moving forward, those are just a few things that I wanted to say. Doesn't it make sense now that we know our objectives, and it's basically keeping up what we have now, our current lifestyle, and hopefully improving it for the future, and getting all of this middleman out of the way, paying too many taxes and being in too much debt, and knowing that our paycheck is not going anywhere? Wouldn't it make sense to kind of take that train and slow it down a little bit before we go over the cliff? I think so. I really think so. In my opinion, I'd rather take my time now while I'm at this age, and I should have done it. And as a matter of fact, I'm educating my children, and I hope that you all will really take this seriously and educate your children on the importance of starting early. Don't start them off in debt. Don't start them off thinking that it's okay to just get a credit card and charge one thing and pay it off to build your credit. It has its place, but first teach them about saving their money instead of using their money. It's a big difference. If they save their money, they may not need their credit card to buy anything. They may be able to buy a home and then start building their credit. However it may go, it just makes sense to me to teach our children about ways to make it better for themselves and not keep going through the same scenarios that we've been going through. And I don't blame it on our predecessors. I don't blame it on our parents for the things that were not taught to us. I don't know about you, but in school they didn't teach me about a 401k or a mutual fund or a hedge fund or a 503c or anything of the sort, a corporate bond fund, a governmental bond. They didn't teach me any of that. I barely learned about a checking account. I didn't learn how to balance the checking account. I didn't learn anything really. I barely learned about a savings account. And it's only so much that, you know, your household can do outside of what's implemented in your education in school. So I think that working, if we had that opportunity, we would all be better off. But it's a reason why it's not a lot of chiefs and a lot of Indians. So you have to make the choice of whether you want to be an Indian or a chief. Me, I choose to be a chief, and I choose to live and plan wisely. Like I say, please, if you all have not visited my Facebook fan page, Lioness Wealth Therapy, please visit it and like it. The videos that I have on YouTube are also on my fan page, and as well my personal page. If you have any questions or comments or just feedback, or if you want something to be discussed on my next segment, please feel free to inbox me or contact me. I have my phone number on my fan page, and I also have my inbox in Messenger. I thank you so much for listening to me. This is Candace Ivory with Lioness Wealth Therapy. Have a good one.